But for home stager like us, right, what we want to do is to neutralize everything, to make your place as neutral as possible so that it appeals to as wide range of people as possible.
Alright, so welcome back to our So Far So Good series, and thank you for joining us on today's platform. So today what we have is that we have a very special guest, and we're going to talk everything about home staging. And in the short while, I'm going to bring on stream with us Kelvin, the founder of Singapore Furniture Rental, and we're going to ask him a couple of questions about home staging in Singapore, a little bit about the history of home staging, and of course some of the things that I think homeowners will definitely want to know, and the nitty-gritty stuff when it comes to staging a property for sale and putting out in the market itself. So whether you're planning to do a little bit of your own DIY staging or to engage a professional to stage, over at PropertyLimBrothers we practice home staging to a great extent as well. So almost close to probably about, I think 70% of our properties that we sell, we go through a process whereby they are enhanced staging or even complete home staging. So Kelvin has been a great partner at PropertyLimBrothers, and we use their services to a great deal as well, and they partner with us to help our owners create that enhanced experience before we put the property in the market or before we even do our video home tour production. So Kelvin, are you ready?
Hi.
Hey,
yes.
Hello,
Hi.
Kelvin.
Hello.
How? Thank you for spending time with us today, coming on to So Far So Good. So how's everything for you? I mean, after the circuit breaker, now we're already about a month into phase 2. How's everything at Singapore Furniture Rental?
Everything is good. It can be better. So basically what happened is that we are actually operational during circuit breaker.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're on full force actually during the phase 1.
Even during circuit breaker.
During circuit breaker, yes, yeah.
Yeah. But unfortunately, my client, which is real estate agent, can't work. So it's the same as not operating.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe for some of our audiences out there, just to give a bit of backdrop to what Kelvin does, his company has been set up. How many years have you set up already for Singapore Furniture Rental?
7 years.
7 years, and he's a very young boss. How old are you this year?
Wow.
Are you okay to share your age on the public platform?
I'm 36.
36. Wow. So you started your business when you were 29.
Yeah.
Wow. So his firm's main top line service is very clear cut. So you can rent furnitures from his company, and he has a lot of inventory. He has a huge team, and I think you have like a lot of different choices for furnitures as well, right? And
Yes.
On top of that, he has a huge market in home staging in Singapore. So I think over the past 3 years, he has staged close to about 1,000 different properties in Singapore, helping property agents and helping homeowners directly as well. So I think Kelvin is one of the best person that we can seek his advice to ask everything about home staging. So Kelvin, when do you start to have this idea about doing home staging? Did that come first, or did furniture rental come first? Which part of your business come first?
So when we started 7 years ago, we started as an online furniture rental company, purely just doing furniture rental.
Right.
With the intention that one day we will want to do home staging. But at that point of time, 7 years ago, home staging is very, very like rare.
Right.
There are some agents that is doing it, but not a lot, right? So, but furniture rental is something we started off with, right? So then what happened is that along the years where the property market start to change, and we get inquiries about agent asking, hey, can I rent furniture because the unit I'm selling is very empty, right? So they cannot visualize and it's too empty and it's in the market for too long. So we started out trying. We say, okay, since we have intention to do home staging down the road, and there are inquiries coming in, so we just try out. Initially, just putting in furnitures without accessories. Yeah. And then we start evolving because agents give us feedback, and then we also try to see what other furniture rental and home staging companies doing overseas. Yeah, so that's where we start to change and evolve. And what really helps is that social media,
Right.
because I think real estate agents starts to realize that they need to use social media.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of agents don't have nice pictures to show online.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why they realize that they need to stage up their house so that they can take nice pictures and they can use it on social media.
I see. Yeah. Just now, you were talking about the history of home staging. So you mentioned that in Singapore, even just a short 7 years back, home staging was not a very popular idea, right? So I read online and did a bit of research. It's like, I think home staging started in 1980s and evolved in the western part of the world. And I think through like programs like HGTV, through social media platforms and stuff, it slowly evolved into the ASEAN region. So for Singapore, when did you think, which year was roughly that year that this entire idea picked up based on your demand for home staging inquiries?
I would say that maybe around 3 years plus back, yeah, that the demand really started picking up, because that is the part where a lot of realtors, a lot of agents really start to use social media. And that is also the period where a lot of agents start using video.
Right.
Yeah. So it is concurrently both the property market, resale market start picking up, and social media usage in the property industry start picking up, and video start picking up. That's where home staging is also there to support the property industry. Yeah.
Right. And maybe for the context of our audience is that in case you're wondering what are some of the parameters and options when it comes to home staging. So to give you a brief backdrop and context. So in Singapore, or maybe even in other parts of the world, when you want to put a property in the market and you want to dress up your home before you sell, there are a few options. So some home staging companies, they are basically consultants, and they don't have a ready inventory, but basically they consult and provide advice. And maybe what some of the home staging firms of this sort they would do is that they will in turn then rent the furnitures for you, or they might assist you to purchase the furnitures. So the main service level there is the consultation service. For Kelvin, I think he's a bit different because he owns the inventory, and his core business initially was furniture rental. So he has a huge inventory that I think through the years he has added on to enhance the home staging service. So Kelvin, just to maybe for us to have a estimated size of your business, right? Like how many sets of furniture do you have, so that the audience know, like roughly, how heavy is this home staging business?
Wow.
Because I know you have a huge inventory, you have several warehouses, which is why even for PropertyLimBrothers, when we started the home staging service for our clients 3 years back, and we partner with you as one of our core partners. So we only have two partners in PropertyLimBrothers. We work with two home staging companies very closely. Kelvin is one of our very strong supporter as well, and so their speed is fast because they have huge inventory. So like roughly what is the size of your scale, so at least our audience will know?
Okay. I don't know how many inventory I have seriously, but we can do at one point up to 100 units. So basically, I can have 100 units of staging out there right now.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means you have 100 sets of sofas and dining tables.
Yeah, so you can imagine if each house have like 6 chairs, right?
Yeah.
I will have 600 chairs.
Wow. Okay.
And I will still have enough in my warehouse.
Wow. Okay. So you really have a lot of furniture. So what is the size of your team? Like maybe to give us an aspect, because I think the home staging business is huge. I mean you because from the way that you provide a service is like a one-stop service. Your guys will come, install the furnitures. When our properties are sold, you come back and extract the furnitures, and then you pack, you deliver and stuff. So how big is your team?
Okay, so right now we have about 15 to 20 people. So we use a lot of part-timers.
Right.
Especially the logistic side of the business.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So a combination of
because
full-time and part-time staff.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but I think one thing that your guys really did well is that your service level is at a very high level. I mean, your guys respond fast, and I think in terms of installing and extracting, they're all done in a very smooth fashion, which is great for our clients,
Yeah.
right?
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
what are probably, like, some of your thoughts? I mean, let's say if somebody is planning to sell their place, but they're deciding, hey, should I do my own DIY home staging versus getting some expert help from companies like yours? What are some of the advice for home sellers? Like, what are some of the things that they probably need to look out for? Some of the blind spots that might occur during the DIY home staging process.
Sure. So there's a few factors here. So one of the thing is whether do you have the time, right? And also depending on the condition of your existing unit, right? So I will assume that if you are still staying in the house and you've been staying there for a while, so there will be some personal clutters in your house. So if you have the time, the first thing you need to do is actually to just declutter first, right? So decluttering, because at the end of the day, if you engage professional home stager like us, you will still need to declutter. Yeah. So for homeowners, they will still need to do the first step of decluttering. The next step is really to consider whether do you have the aesthetic sense to really do what you need to do to enhance the place, right? The challenge for homeowners is that because homeowners are staying there and they have their own preference. But for home stager like us, right, what we want to do is to neutralize everything, to make your place as neutral as possible so that it appeals to as wide range of people as possible, right? So of course, there will be some homeowners who have already spent interior design of certain style, which is very hard to change. So then it really takes a lot of effort to make it as neutral as possible.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, because we also advocate this theory whereby the moment any homeowners want to put your property out in the market, the property technically becomes their product. And the main purpose and objective of selling the place is to allow a wider audience to fall in love with your property. So I agree with you to create a neutral tone, a neutral sense whereby the wider audience out there will more or less be okay with the renovation of the furniture style. Because sometimes I think the strange thing is that we have, like, for example, some properties, the moment we advise our sellers to change the wall colors, the house gets sold. Because I still remember there was a property whereby the rooms are all like superbly dark purple, and then we advise the clients to repaint them all into white, and the moment that is done, the property gets sold the following weekend. So sometimes it's a bit strange in terms of the first impression. And we also read that the moment human beings enter a place, enter a space, the first 8 seconds we already sort of subconsciously form our impression of the place. So what are your thoughts about first impression? Because I believe you and your guys, you do studies about impression, the choice of furnitures, which is why when we partner with you, your guys are also able to give advice like, okay, should we reuse this particular furniture that's already in the house, or should we extract it and replace it and stuff? So what do you think about first impression?
I think it's very, very important. I think that's what a lot of property developers are doing, right? So like you imagine yourself walking into all the developers show flat. Most of the time, the viewers are impressed, right? And it started off with a very positive emotions when they step into a show flat. And the remaining journey will be positive unless there is something that really distract the viewers. Otherwise, the first impression already helps the viewer to put them in a very, very positive emotions. So while they walk through the whole house and they start seeing things, they start looking at furnitures, or they start looking at the interior design, and maybe sometimes the agent will start sharing informations. The whole journey from start to end is positive. So it naturally will ideally end off on a positive note, whether they will offer you, or even if they offer, it will not be a low ball offer, right? So it all starts with first impression.
Right.
We have sometimes even for us, when we go down to a unit to stage, the moment we step in, we feel very, very uncomfortable because the house is not clean, or the owner didn't declutter and a lot of mess around the place, or some certain items was there for very long and it's just an eyesore, right? So all these small little details will affect the whole journey
Experience.
of viewing this, the whole experience of viewing this unit.
Yeah.
So like you say, when the homeowner want to sell this property, it is like their product. They want the buyer to like the product. That's why then they can ask for higher price. Then they are able to attract more people to offer. So that's why first impression is always the crucial part of the entire viewing process.
Yeah, and I would say that buyers are actually very savvy, and buyers and sellers, they are both savvy. They're both smart. They have done their homework when it comes to selling and buying. So far over the past 3 over years, when we sold properties that has home staging furniture, when the buyers visit, they actually know that these are furnitures that are staged up. Similarly, when buyers walk into developer show flat, they also know that all these things are not included, and they are buying an empty home with the fixtures and fittings. But I think when it comes to first impressions plus being comfortable about the space, the third thing I feel that the thing that benefits the buyers is that it takes away the stress of walking into an empty space and having to visualize yourself, because it's quite daunting to walk into an empty space and then trying to visualize how big the sofa is. Will it overstretch? Does it eat into this space, that space, and stuff? And I think putting in the right furnitures and the right size, it will then bring out the best potential of the space itself. So if let's say we are talking about an empty home, Kelvin, in your opinion, what do you think, maybe for the living room, or maybe if we talk about living room, dining, kitchen, and stuff like that, what do you think are the top 3 to 5 items that are must-haves when it comes to staging an empty property? The most essential elements or the most essential furnitures that must be there.
I think for living and dining area, right, in Singapore layout, most of the time when you step into the property, it's always a link living and dining together, right? There are certain layout that is slightly different, but majority is the same. So the depending on the layout, so most of the time when you step into the house, the first thing you see is the living area, and ideally is the sofa that will attract their attention, right? Then the next thing is usually the dining area. That means the dining set and the dining chair, the full set. So what happened is, for the sofa, what we want is actually to make it as looks like very comfortable, yet there is enough space to walk around, right? So you might not need a coffee table, right? You might not need a TV console also, because some houses, they don't watch TV, so you don't necessarily need a TV console, right? So the sofa set is very, very important. Then the dining area is where basically it is another area of the house where most of the time family will want to sit together to eat dinner, right? So the whole space, usually table can be a rectangle table or a square table. Sometimes it's a round table, but it should not take up too much space that there is not enough walkway. So I think these 2 areas, the sofa set and the dining set, is very, very important to have.
Yeah, it's one of the must-have to bring out the right dimension and the feel of the entire living space. Because I think that's also one of the space that people spend the most time in, and the first thing that they hit home when they enter from the door, this is what we see every day when we hit home, right? So let's go to the other spectrum. Okay, so we talk about an empty home, and I think this is a very common question, is that what happens if the sellers are still living in the property, and then they would like to stage up the place, and they would like to sell it, but they are still living in it, and they do not have any other alternative accommodation. So how is the arrangement like? I mean, although I know how to answer this question because we have worked on this for like the past 3 years, but I'll leave it to you to answer this question. Like, how do we advise owners who are living in the property that they want to stage?
Yeah. So I think there is 2 scenarios here. The first scenario is that the interior itself and the existing furniture in the unit is decent. It's not bad. Or sometimes the owner really spent a lot of money and effort when they move in to make the whole place look very nice. So this scenario is very straightforward because what we need to assess is really can we reuse most of the furniture? Do we need to remove or do we need to change some furniture if necessary? Because at the end of the day, they will have stayed there for years. They might have made changes along the years. They might have add in additional furnitures that might not match the original furniture. So when the current condition is okay, what we try to do is to make some touch up. That means we add in accessories. Most of the time we will add in accessories because in a owner stay unit, there were usually not a lot of accessories like carpet, art pieces, or decorations. Right, and then we try to see whether do we really need to remove items or not, right? So that is scenario one, where the interior looks okay, right? Scenario two is where sometimes they have stayed there for 20 years. The furniture looks quite bad condition. There is a lot of they add on more things along the years and totally don't match. So what we will suggest to them is if the agent managed to sell the unit, you will have to pack up. You have to make a decision whether you want to bring certain furnitures to the new unit anyway. So might as well make that decision right now.
Might as well just throw away some of the things now.
Correct. Might as well just, because sometimes you really look around your house, you will know that certain things you want to throw but you haven't thrown.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
eventually it will be thrown.
Yeah, it's a matter you throw now, or when the unit is sold, you need to throw it anyway.
Yeah.
Might as well you do it now. Right. So like what I mentioned just now, even if you engage a home stager, you need to do decluttering. So might as well do it now, make the effort to declutter, to start choosing things to dispose and dispose them.
Right.
Then those furniture that the owners still require to use, like for example, they still need to stay there. They need the dining set, they need the beds, they need the sofa set. So what happens is, if we can reuse those items, we will keep it there. And we will try to bring in other furnitures to match the existing furniture.
Right.
For some of the items that it doesn't match, so we have two suggestions for them. Of course, number one is to dispose them right now. The other one is we actually provide storage for them. So they can store at our warehouse and we will bring in, for example, another sofa set.
Right.
So they can use everything that we bring in. Right. All the things that we put in, they can use it. And then when the unit is sold, we will just do an exchange.
Right. Yeah. So it's really like a one-stop, because their current furnitures can be stored in your warehouse. It will all be nicely wrapped and protected, while the owners can continue to use your furnitures while they're living there and selling. Right. So I think what Kelvin has done is that he has streamlined the process to make it as comfortable as possible, because for homeowners, one of the key concerns is that if I want to keep some of my furnitures, and especially if there are pieces with sentimental values, and these are the first furnitures that I want to bring to my next home, sometimes it's really troublesome if I need to rent an external storage and then put it there and stuff like that. So, but what Kelvin does is that he provides a one-stop kind of service. They will wrap it, put it in his warehouse, safe keep it for you, and then when you need to restore it after selling, he will restore it for you. Right. So that includes reinstating, like refixing the furnitures and stuff like that, which your guys are all professionally trained, right, Kelvin?
Yep. So we will reinstate back to the condition that if you need the sofa back, we will set it back. If you need the bed back, we will just set it back. Yeah.
Right.
We can also there are cases whereby the owner, because they sold the unit and then they want us to deliver those items back to the new unit or to another unit, we can do that for them also.
Wow. Okay, that's really flexible, and I think that's a value added service that SFR provides for your clients, and of course SFR, their main clientele pool, I would say that a large percentage are property agents, and because as homeowners, when homeowners engage property agents to sell their place, basically property agents will partner with furniture home staging companies to provide a value added service. So similarly for PropertyLimBrothers, what we do is that we partner with vendors like Kelvin and his team, and then we make it a one-stop solution when it comes to marketing a place. Because importantly, before we shoot our signature video home tour, we want to make sure that what is presented in the video content itself, it is premium, it is comfortable, and we want to make sure that the home is ready. So the key thing is that it must be ready for the shoot, and a lot of pre-prep work has to be done. And because coordination also takes time, we need to coordinate with Kelvin's team. We need to discuss about the staging concept, what kind of furniture style, and what kind of furniture size and all that are suitable for a particular property. Because I mean, at PLB itself, we also have certain things that we want to achieve for particular units. So sometimes we will tell Kelvin and saying that, hey, this property we do not want dark furnitures, or we'll say that, okay, this property we want Scandinavian style. And that brings us to the next question, is that I think some people are asking also, like, when it comes to the style of the staging furnitures, are you guys open to discuss about the style? So for example, if I'm a homeowner and I approach you directly, are you open to discuss about the style of the staging furnitures?
It will be a challenge for us to have too many styles, right? So we have certain styles that we have. Okay, in general, we have modern contemporary style of different color hues.
Right.
Right. So it really depends on the existing condition or existing furniture they have. So we don't have all the styles, but we do our best to match up to the existing interior.
Right. So you probably have like a few different themes that you play around with.
Correct.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So we also try to keep the furniture as neutral as possible, but we have more choices when it comes to accessories.
Right.
Yeah. So the accessories will bring in the different color, different touch. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So maybe giving a bit of backdrop on usually what are the workflow when PLB onboards. I mean, when our sellers onboards with PropertyLimBrothers to sell their place, is that one of our vendors, definitely like Kelvin themselves, they will come in at the very initial stage. But sometimes before that, there are still certain works that our listings manager will have to coordinate for our sellers. Is that, for example, we have to bring a painter to repaint the entire place. We have to bring some handyman to touch up a little bit of stuff here and there, just to make sure that the unit is good to go. And then after all these are being done, then Kelvin's team will come in, extract some of the furnitures, put in the new stuff, put in the carpet, dress up the place, and then after which our media team will come in and start to do the video production and stuff like that. So this process, sometimes it takes a couple of days to a couple of weeks as well, because that depends on the size of the property. That also depends on the extent of work that needs to be done. And I think one important question that we also want to ask is that does your firm provide any other services other than furniture rental, furniture staging? Do you all have any other services that you all currently have or you're planning to have?
So basically, right, like what you mentioned just now, right, before staging, there is a few steps. Right?
Yes.
So we do offer like painting services. We do offer cleaning services. We do offer disposal and storage, like what you mentioned just now. If owner want to dispose, we can dispose for them. If they need to store, we can store for them.
Right.
We also provide moving services.
Right.
So sometimes once the unit is sold, the owner wants to move their items to the new place, so we can do that for them also.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
and also every property that we stage, we will take photographs. Right. So the photographs will be provided for the owner or for the agent to do their marketing.
Right. Okay. So maybe for our audience to know like where to find you, on what days and what hours are you guys open? Like, or do you all like open technically close to 18 hours per day, or what are your service hours?
Okay, so Monday to Friday, we are open 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. When we say we are open, right, because we are an online furniture rental company, so we don't have a place that people can visit us. So you can visit us on our website, right, singaporefurniturerental.com or sfr.com.sg. Or you can go to our Facebook, because we are an online furniture rental company and we are very active online. So we do a lot of content creation on Facebook and on YouTube. So you just go online and search for Singapore Furniture Rental, and you can reach out to us through our Facebook page or through view our content on YouTube.
Right. Yeah. Right. So Kelvin, backtracking a little bit, because your brand name is called Singapore Furniture Rental and your company evolved 7 years back because you started the an online platform for people to select furnitures to rent. So last time your target audience are mainly probably tenants and expatriates that wants to rent furnitures for the purpose of renting a place, right? So were you the first rental company for furnitures in Singapore to have an online platform back then?
Yes, at that point of time, yes, we are the first online furniture rental company. We are the first full-fledged online.
Right.
So at that point of time, 7 years ago, the whole Singapore industry is really just starting to do e-commerce. So we were thinking, okay, maybe it's time for us to disrupt this industry, and then that's why we started as an online furniture rental company.
Right.
And I think one of the things is different from us and the rest of the furniture rental company is that we actually didn't start off targeting expatriate. So we started off with the intention that we want to serve property owners, the landlords, property management company. We want to serve the person that is owning the property.
Right.
So that's why it evolved into home staging, because home staging is servicing the one that owns the property.
Right.
Yeah.
So sorry. Okay, so before I forget, okay, so talking about so we've talked a great deal on home staging. I'm very interested to know about your furniture rental company, right? So now because you have two spectrum, one is home staging, which is huge as well, and then the other part is you still do furniture rental. So who are the audiences, who are your customer base on this furniture rental part, and is it still so-called like very buoyant right now on this, the demand level for furniture rental?
So for the furniture rental part, right now because of COVID, so the demand is slightly lower.
Okay,
but before
understand.
COVID, before COVID, what happened is that actually, like I mentioned, we started with the intention to serve the property owners. So our base since day one is really to serve the property owner. So we serve a lot of landlords actually. We serve a lot of property investors. We serve a lot of property management companies. Right. On and off, we still have expats, individual expats coming online, start searching for furnitures, and then they just book their furnitures online.
Right.
Yeah. Also, we have agents referring direct tenants, the expatriate to us. But our core client for our furniture rental is still the property owners. Yeah.
Right. So perhaps probably some of our audiences will probably in their mind right now have this question like, hey, why are landlords renting furnitures for their rental units to rent out? Why don't they want to buy? Okay, to answer this question, the core basis is that for a rental property, it depends on which area is the property located at. For example, usually in the core regions, a lot of tenants when they come, they either have their own furnitures or they want to select certain kind of furnitures in the unit. And sometimes the landlord want to keep it flexible. Sometimes tenants' requirement is to rent the unit bare or partial furnished. Sometimes they want it fully furnished. And thus, that created a gap in the market that if there are flexibility for landlords to be flexible with furniture rental, then it allows them to cater to a wider audience of tenants. Am I right, Kelvin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I want to add on to that is also that not only in core central region, we are also over the years seeing
gradual trends
outside, property outside core central region renting furnitures. Why? Because as there's a lot of property investors, when they start getting more sophisticated, they a lot of them actually don't have the time, and in fact, it becomes the job of a real estate agent to handle all these furniture issues.
Yes. We have more and more things to do.
Yeah. So in the end, what happened is that landlords realized that actually it don't make sense to buy furniture, and because the lease of the tenant is getting shorter. Last time you get 3 years, 2 years. Now you are getting 1 year, 6 months.
Because of a lot of uncertainty in the market. Sometimes tenants travel very frequently.
Yeah. So that's why a lot of landlords start to change from buying furnitures to renting furnitures. When tenant require furnitures, they rent. When tenant do not require furnitures, they just keep it there. Yeah. So that's what happened.
And when the tenant leaves, your firm will come back to extract the furniture. So it's very clean. I mean, they don't have to worry about going DIY to throw away furniture, throw away stuff and things like that. So I think when landlords approach you is really buying time, buying the time, saving the time and energy to manage this kind of furniture requirements. Yeah, so that part of the business, I think, I mean, pre-COVID or after this COVID situation has stabilized, the demand is still there in your perspective.
Yes, yes. The demand is always there to rent furniture. The only thing is whether are they aware about that they have this option of renting furnitures.
Right, right. And
Right.
of course,
So,
on top of landlords, you have tenants as your customer base as well.
correct, correct. And recently, we have more property management company asking about how to helping them to furnish up their unit for rental.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the trend we are seeing is that the expatriate coming to Singapore, they are changing in terms of the demographics. So they used to have big families coming in, and they will bring all their furnitures in. Right now, we are looking at more like younger expats coming in. So the tenant pool is getting different.
Right.
Yeah. And usually they don't bring furnitures in.
Right.
So that's where either they come in, they rent fully furnished unit, or they will either, if they have budget, then they might buy. But most of them, they might not have that upfront budget when they reach Singapore, so they will rent.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, what happens if, let's say, after 2 years, and when the tenant leaves, and let's say if I'm the landlord who rented furnitures from you, found that okay, some of the furnitures, and I didn't notice it during the handover, and then maybe there's a slight damage to the sofa and things like that. Usually, how are all this being settled? Is there like insurance, or is there like a clause, a repair clause and stuff?
So I think what sets us different is that we don't charge for damage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So of course, if we rent 10 items, we need to collect 10 items back. So if the item is missing, then we have to charge. But when it comes to damages, right, we don't charge. Right.
Wow.
So even like we have the worst case scenario happen before is the cat. There's a cat that scratched the whole sofa that we rented to a tenant, and we just collect it back without charging.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a particular reason that you have this like service that you I mean basically what is the rationale? Is it because you find that some of the things are probably really accidental or things like that? Like what is your rationale? Or basically is a very strong value proposition that you decided to plow into your business?
So from initially we charge, and then we realize there's a difficulty. There's always this challenge of everyone is asking, what if I damage the furniture?
Right.
What if they scratch? So this is the top concern when people rent items. Anything that you rent, you will have a concern of, do I have to pay when I stop renting if there's any damages? You rent property, you rent car, and there's always this clause of they will charge for damages, and it's very, very gray area. Yeah. So that's what we realized about rental industry.
Right.
Basically, the one who rents it out can charge, say anything that they will charge any amount they want, and the renter will have no choice but to pay, or they will have to forfeit their deposit. But what we want to do is really to be different. And the fact that we are online, most of our clients don't see our items before they rent. So having this clause will give them assurance that don't worry, whatever that we are providing, we are not going to charge you for even a scratch.
Right.
So that it helps that a lot of homeowners, especially for home staging client, that they actually are assured that they won't be charged if they damage their items.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So do you have a team at your warehouse that restores all these damages and like do you train your people to do that?
For some furniture we can restore, right? We don't. Some of it we can do some minor touch up to reuse the item and make it better or change certain parts. Some items we will send it to our supplier to do some re-upholstery. Yeah. But there are also certain items that certain damage is too much, we just dispose them.
Right. Okay, and just do replacement over the years.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think you have helped answer a lot of questions, a lot of nitty-gritty stuff that I think our audience will definitely benefit from today's session with you, Kelvin. Thank you so much for for spending time with us at So Far So Good. And once again, this episode and all our episodes on So Far So Good will be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, as well as our YouTube channel and Facebook and Instagram. So do head on to the channels and the platforms that you love to revisit this episode together with Kelvin from Singapore Furniture Rental. Share this content outwards as well with your friends if they want to know more in depth about staging their properties for sale, or even if they have bought properties for rental as a landlord and they want to create some additional flexibility in the amount of furniture that they provide for their tenants. So thank you, Kelvin. Thank you once again for coming on stream. Yeah, take care, and I'll catch up with you.